Hi, we are the Corellia group. Let me tell you a story first. Corellia is a local youth living alone. She had a tough time because of the pandemic. She rarely meets other people in the community and feels lonely. She once liked to hang out around old buildings where Grandma had told many stories. But due to economic pressure, these buildings were closed and some residents began to forget them. She felt the familiar things around her were leaving her. We can't help asking, what will the world be like if people get lonely and don't communicate with others? Losing the familiar, how do we recognize ourselves? Can our loneliness be cured only by relying on social media? How might we? How can we help Corellia and other residents to communicate and reduce loneliness? How do we stimulate people's willingness to share? How can we help Corellia integrate into the community so that her troubles can be heard and supported? How can we help people understand the past and imagine their future? It's difficult for individuals to solve, so we need collective imagination. What is collective imagination? Everyone knows Einstein, but few of us know Edwin Catmull, the president of Pixar. They are both successful, but it's difficult for us to reproduce the idea of genius. We can learn more from Pixar's model. Co-design is not a flash of inspiration, but hundreds of people spending a lot of time polishing incredible movies. When it comes to community, we think it's where people remember the past, connect with the present, and look to the future. In recent years, many problems have affected our lives. What can we do to change our future? The first community uses heritage clay to inspire people's creativity and establish connections. The second community shared the stories of connection between residents and stars. We want to focus on community issue, and the best way to stimulate collective imagination is to resonate with residents. So, how can we find the proper context for forests? Through the data, we found some facts. We also noticed some abandoned buildings and checked relevant information. The Linchuo Hospital will reopen in 2025 and have collected opinions from residents through the news. We are very interested in this news. Linchuo Hospital is an important historical building, unfortunately closed in 2018 due to financial pressure. Later, we investigated more stories of abandoned buildings. These buildings are a kind of emotional resonance and collective self-thinking. Each gives people a capacity to participate in things they are interested in. We visited some old buildings for the first interview and emailed Linchuo's principal. Besides, we also collected residents' dissatisfaction and shared buildings' memories. We use online questionnaires and tools to help us. Based on our question, we found some data about forest issue and things that people want to make changes. The data shows that first, residents want more activities to make friends, and they also need better channels to learn cultural heritage. Besides, they expect to solve the living problem. We also encountered problems. Many people were hesitant to express themselves. There are 4 reasons: lack of trust and self-esteem, influenced by culture and fear of rejection. Then we found a theory called silent spiral to solve these problems. When most people express their thoughts confidently, there is a spiral. A few people began to avoid expressing themselves. We are trying to find a way to reduce the impact and let minorities' voice be heard. In the second interview, we made 2 engagement tools. The first one is to find out dissatisfaction in the community, while the second one is to collect imagination of Linchuo Hospital. After finished writing, people will put paper upside down in the box to avoid influencing others and protecting their thoughts. Residents hope these 3 aspects can be improved: cultural heritage, activities, and relationships. The word most mentioned during the interview was coffee, which has become a social habit in forests. When asked about Linchuan Hospital, we found two kinds of people with different attitudes. Some people know it and are very interested in. Others don't know much but want to learn more. We can find the former can write down their imaginations to Linchuan's future much faster than the latter. Through the research, we've got two enlightenment points. First, we hope to dispel the guards in coffee activities and discuss and propose imagination more relaxed. Besides, we hope to stimulate people's creativity by sharing memories of old buildings and enhancing the sense of belonging. By letting people know more about the local history, we can awaken people's sense of belonging. Drinking coffee together, get inspiration, and inject new vitality into old buildings and community. We went to the coffee morning and shop and found that many people use cup holders. This coincides with our previous idea. So we have a story born. We produced two coffee-related designs, coasters and sleeves. They have photos of building on the front and stories on the back. People can read stories and write down their memories or ideas. In the end, building pieces were put together into a three-dimensional model, and the uncertain combinations bring more surprises. By working with local institutions and coffee businesses, everyone can exchange ideas and feedback. Everyone's stories and ideas make up our community. We meet people and bring ideas, create more connections in a very relaxed way, the coffee habits of locals. In the future, our solutions can bring more to the community. The community and all residents, as co-designers, are constantly forming community cohesion. We can also connect with local stakeholders in two different aims: history and belongings, and business opportunities. Then, we get to the design part. The front of the coasters and sleeves are photos of historic buildings. The red stamp shows the time that building was open to the public to give a sense of ritual. And the back side is a historical story. When customers tear the building image along the crease and write down their future imagination, they can make a random patchwork and get a surprising model. We made a physical sample for the test. During the test, users can chat while drinking coffee. We let users read stories to experience the present and think about the future. Then, they write down their future in the atmosphere of the story. Finally, they assembled these cards. All individual cards were bolted together to form a city cluster of group ideas. Further, coffee as a social culture can be applied to forests and many other cities. We have also created models for Edinburgh, London to engage more people. In the end, we use augmented reality as an experiment. In the future, people will upload and share their imagination by scanning the red stamp on cap sleeves. The design allows the imagination to change from invisible to sensible, and the combination of historical buildings will enable people to find their sense of belonging to the community. Thanks for watching.